In this video, I'm going to show you why cash flow is more important than cash grow. In this video, I'm going to show you why it's more important to live rich now than it is to hopefully get rich later, and how to do it. So why am I even talking about this? Because so many people have these erroneous ideas. In fact, most of the things that we learn most of our lives about money are all a lie. You wonder why you're struggling. You're 30 years old, you're 40 years old, you're 25 years old, you're 35, 45, 55, 65, 75 years old, and you're still struggling financially. And people talk about having goals. Well, you never wrote down, I want to be struggling my whole life, so why are you doing it? The reason you're struggling your whole life is because you've been taught to believe that something is true that is actually not even close to true. And that is that we should live our life for one day instead of living our life today. And by the way, I believe in delayed gratification. I believe one of the biggest common denominators of success in life is the ability to delay gratification. So I'm not talking about that cash grow or cash accumulation is a bad idea because somehow waiting is a terrible thing. Waiting can be a good thing. But what are you doing while you're waiting? See, a lot of people's hope for one day I'll have enough money that I won't have to do anything anymore. Which is, I mean, think about it. Like, why do you desire to retire? Don't tell me you desire to retire just because that's what I've always wanted to do. No, you haven't. Because when you were born, you didn't want to do it. When you were 3, you didn't want to retire. When you were 5, you didn't want to retire. So where did the idea come from? You weren't born with the idea, man, one of these days I want to have enough money so I don't have to do anything anymore. What would you do if you get rich? You know what most people say? Well, what I would do is I wouldn't do anything. You wouldn't do anything. Think about that. Well, I wouldn't do what I'm doing now. Then why are you doing what you're doing now? Because somebody told you that you have to suffer through existence behavior so that hopefully one day you can have an experience of living instead of an experience of just existing. And you bought into that because that's what everybody was saying. Your teachers were saying it, your professors were saying it, your parents were saying it, your boss is telling you that. Everybody's telling you that someday is more important than today. Well, in a lot of ways, that's true. Like when it comes to my habits, like living for the long term makes more sense. Like if I am willing to sacrifice today on the altar of tomorrow, my tomorrow is going to be better than my today. Are y'all tracking? When it comes to my health, why is that not the case when it comes to my finances? It is kind of, but it's the path that you take to get there makes all the difference. And so I looked up some terms for you, so I'm going to read them to you. So I'm not just giving you Myron Golden definitions. I'm going to give you actual definition from the dictionary. Okay. So cash flow. What is cash flow? Cash flow is the net amount of cash and cash equivalents moving into and out of a person, business, or investment over a specific period of time. So it's the amount of cash or cash equivalents moving into and out of. Into and out of. Into and out of. We've been taught to value money coming into, cash coming into our person, cash coming into our business, cash coming into our investments, but we've been taught to guard against cash going out. We guard against cash going out in the form of price resistance, right? We want to have the value, but we don't want to pay the price, right? And so what we'll do is we'll waste a lot of time to save a little bit of money. Because we've been taught as poor and middle class people to value money more than we value time. One of the things I can tell you is absolutely 100% unequivocally true about those of us who are rich. We value time more than we value money. I would rather spend a bunch of money to save a little time than waste a bunch of time to save a little money. And by the way, when I say that, ask yourself, which side of that equation would you rather be on? Like you'll research for a handful of decades over price. I exaggerate, not that long, but for a long time, to find the cheapest version of a thing, when if you had to put the same amount of time into figuring out how to make more money to pay for the thing you really desired to have in the first place, then you'd already have it, and you'd be on to the next thing. Is what I'm saying making some sense, yes or yes? And so what we got to do is we have to change our mindset, because the people who told us that cash accumulation, okay, I gave you the definition of cash flow. Let me give you the definition of cash accumulation. So cash flow again. Cash flow is the net amount of cash or cash equivalents moving into and out of a person, business, or investment over a specific period of time. What's cash accumulation? Cash accumulation is the process of increasing the total amount of cash or cash equivalent assets held at a given point in time through savings, investing, and retaining earnings. So we've been taught that that's more valuable. But I submit to you that the people who taught us that that's more valuable taught us that that's more valuable because it's more valuable when we do that to them. Like it's more when I hold off and I put my money into an institution and then they are in control of what happens with that money and they have the ability to use that money to make more money and I don't. Then that's in their best interest, so they tell me to do it, but when they tell me to do it, they tell me a reason that I can buy into of how it's going to benefit me. That's why most people love their 401ks and their whatever deferred benefit plans and all of that. And yes, I have them, but it's not even a smidgen of the overall picture of my financial situation because I am not so focused on cash accumulation that I'm going to sacrifice cash flow on the altar of cash accumulation. And here's why. Because I discovered a long time ago, if your main focus financially is on cash accumulation, then there's a very good likelihood that you will never have either in significant amounts. You'll never have cash accumulation in significant amounts. Now, I'm going to prove it to you here mathematically. I'm going to prove it to you mathematically. So you know Myron's not just saying stuff. And you'll never have a massive amount of cash flow and you'll never have a massive amount of cash accumulation if you're struggling to pay your electric bill and you're hyper-focused on retirement, you're focused on the wrong thing. There's nothing wrong with retirement. I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong with retirement. There's a lot wrong with retirement. But anyway, but I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with delayed gratification when it comes to your money. In fact, it's a great idea. But it's not a great idea to have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in a retirement account and you're struggling to pay your electric bill. That's a bad idea. You don't have enough money to invest in something that can increase your cash flow. So, I'm so glad. In fact, I would venture to say, I would never have become a liquid millionaire if I wouldn't have decided before I was a liquid millionaire. Liquid millionaire means, you have $1 million liquid or millions of dollars liquid. I would never have millions of dollars liquid if I wouldn't have decided first to become what I call a virtual millionaire. I decided to become a virtual millionaire before I became a liquid millionaire. I'm going to show you what all that means. And so I'm going to go over here to my trusty digital blackboard. I'm going to show you why this whole idea, a couple of different reasons, why this whole idea of having cash accumulation and debt elimination as your primary financial objectives create more financial disaster and devastation for families than if they did it a different way. Okay? Now, so let the games begin. If we're talking about cash accumulation, what's happening is most people have a job, and I'm going to talk about where cash flow comes from here shortly. But I want to give you the opposing views of cash flow versus cash accumulation. I want to give you the opposing views first. So, let's say your primary objective is cash accumulation, and you want to become a millionaire. Okay. How much money do you have to save every month in order to become a millionaire based on where you are right now? If you want to accumulate $1 million, okay. So, how long will it take you? And here's what we have to do. How many of y'all understand we have to operate within the boundaries that currently constrain us? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So, let's say you want to accumulate $1 million, and right now, based on how much money you're making, you can save $100 a month. We're not going to talk about interest right now, just because the interest will be the interest, and that's fine. And most of the interest you're getting is simple interest anyway. It's not going to be compounding interest. And so we're not going to talk about that. Let's say you can save $100 per month. How long will it take you at $100 a month to accumulate $1 million? Does anybody know? Anybody want to guess? Just throw something out. Anybody, just guess. 30 years. Okay, here's how long it's going to take. It's going to take 833 years at $100 a month. 833 years, and you will have accumulated $1 million. Okay, but wait, don't do that. That's not helpful. So let's say you can accumulate, let's say you can save $1,000 a month. How many of y'all know that most people in America cannot save $1,000 a month? How many of y'all know that? But let's just assume they could. How long is it going to take? It's going to take 83.3 years. So it's going to take 83.3 years. Now, in 83.3 years, I'm not sure how old you're going to be. But in 83.3 years, I'm going to be 148. And even if I have $1 million by then, I'm probably going to be too tired to spend it. So maybe that's not the best plan. Now, but what if you could save $10,000 a month? Okay, well, if you could save $10,000 a month, then it's only going to take you 8.33 years. Well, that's doable because then I'll only be like 73. Maybe I'll have enough energy. I know I'll have enough energy, right? But the average person, they're going to have energy at 73? I can't speak for them. I don't know what they eat, and I don't know how they take care of their body. Okay, but $10,000 a month. How many of y'all know the average person is not saving $10,000 a month? Like, what percentage of the population do you think could save $10,000 a month? It's going to be less than 10%, right? This plan doesn't work for most people, but let's say it did. Let's say by some strange miracle, while you're doing this, your rich uncle died and left you $1 million. Or you just saved for 833 years, or 83 years, or 8.33 years, and you did that, and you had $1 million. So once you have that $1 million, this is not a trick question. I want everybody to answer. This is not a trick question. This is not a trick question. You have $1 million. Are you a millionaire? This is not a trick question. Answer, everyone. It's not a trick question. I said, why would you say no? If you have $1 million, are you a millionaire? That's what a millionaire means. I said it's not a trick question. It's not. Now, before I even go any further, let me tell you why people said yes. Here's why you said yes. This is one of the same reasons you stay stuck. Here's why people said no, you're not a millionaire if you have $1 million. Here's why people say that. They say it because they learned in the miseducational, misdirectional system that if an answer is too obvious or seems too obvious, it must be the opposite. And so what we do is we go through life ignoring all the easy answers that are true, stepping over them so we can pick up all the erroneous answers that are wrong. Right? Because it can't be that simple. If you have $1 million, are you a millionaire? Yes or yes? Yes. But I don't want to answer because what if I say the wrong thing? I told you 4 times it wasn't a trick question. Right? Okay, now, this is also not a trick question. I want everybody to answer. If you don't answer, you failed the test. So here's the question. If you spend $1, are you still a millionaire? No. What are you? You're a 999,999-aire, and that takes way too long to say. So the objective when you have your $1 million is to not spend it. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to do what? I'm going to invest it and live off the interest. Let's say I can live off the interest, and let's say I can make 6% interest on my $1 million. And I get 6% on my $1 million every year, and I never touch then I get to be a millionaire, and I don't have to touch the money. Is what I'm saying making sense so far? Are y'all tracking? Okay, so let's do some little interesting things here. If I get 6% on $1 million, how much is that per year? That's $60,000. So a millionaire, this is $1 million accumulated. This is $60,000, gives you $60,000 cash flow. $60,000 a year. $60,000 a year divided by 12 months gives you how much a month? That gives you $5,000 a month cash flow if you have $1 million. Now, I don't know if that excites you or not, but that to me was one of the most exciting things I've ever discovered. Because I discovered that if I can create $5,000 of passive income, cash flow, then it gives me the exact same lifestyle as someone who's accumulated $1 million and has it invested at 6%. Now, let's go back over here and look at the equation. You're saving $100 a month. It's going to take you 833 years. How many of y'all feel like that's a pretty good track for you? Oh, nobody. How about $1,000 a month is going to take you 83 years? Anybody think that's a good track? Even if you're 20, you're going to be 103. If you're 20 and you start this, you're going to be 103. Can you imagine being 103, how exhausted you are? Okay, so let's say you can save $10,000 a month, but most people can't do that. Do you see why? Are you starting to see why cash flow is a better idea than cash accumulation? Okay. Now, I'm not in elementary school anymore, but I've been in elementary school, and we got some elementary school age children here, or at least one. And so here's what I discovered in elementary school: a math formula in elementary school that's a wealth formula. A 3rd grader could understand it. A 5th grader could understand it. What? Okay, what is it? Y'all ready? Y'all can probably help me finish it. 2 things that are equal to the same thing are also equal to what? Each other. Ta-da, congratulations. I just cracked the code for you. 2 things that are equal to the same thing are also equal to each other. What does that mean? If accumulating $1 million makes you a liquid millionaire, and it gives you, invested at 6%, $5,000 a month in cash flow, anything that you create that gives you $5,000 a month in passive, deferred, whatever you want to call it, residual cash flow, is equal to having $1 million accumulated, at $1 million accumulated and invested at 6%. Now here's what's cool. This is so doable, like now. $5,000 a month in passive income is doable now, if you understand how to do it. By the way, I'm gonna show you some ways you can do it. I'm gonna show you ways we do it. Like I'm a liquid millionaire, and I still have way more than $5,000 a month passive cash flow coming in. Way more. Like, literally, okay, so we have over, and I don't know exactly what the number is, but I know it's over $200,000 a month passive liquid cash flow coming in. Before I get out of bed, 200,000 is coming in. So if you take 5,000 divided by 200,000, it's going to be something like, 80 times? Okay, so that's the equivalent of having like $80 million. Do you see how much better this is a way to live? Because when you, please, I promise you by the end of this video, you're going to not just know that this works, but you're going to know how you can apply it to your own life. How valuable is that? I don't know, seems like it might be pretty valuable. And you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to quit your job to do it. I was making more than $5,000 a month passive cash flow when I had a job. At the later ends of my job career. Okay, so does this part make sense so far? Okay, so now I'm gonna go sit down and calm down, because I know I got a little worked up, because this is exciting to me. Like, I can see it in your eyes. The reason I'm so jacked right now is because I'm looking at y'all, and I'm like, oh, they're getting it. It's finally clicking. Okay, so now let's talk about different kinds of cash flow, right? Cash flow is an overarching thing, but there are different sources of cash flow. So, couple things. Focusing on cash accumulation before focusing on cash flow, like I said, could cause you to lose both. Focusing on cash flow before you focus on cash accumulation. Get your cash flow fixed first. It can almost guarantee that you get both. Do you understand the number one reason you're struggling right now is because your cash flows out faster than your cash flows in? Do you know why? Because you've been programmed by the same system that told you to accumulate cash. You've been programmed to believe that as a person who spends money all day, every day, you should only get paid once a week, or once every other week, or once a month. But you're spending money all day, every day, right? If I'm spending money all day, every day, how often does it make sense to make money?
All day, every day.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was in the right room. All day, every day. Okay. Now, and I know what you're thinking. You can't make money all day, every day. Well, no, you can't. Not the way the system tells you to do it. Here's why you believe that, for those of you who had that thought creep into your head. Okay? So, here's my 3-point outlines, and my 3-point outline, and I don't have a poem, but I might make one up before I'm done. Okay. So, cash flow can be created now. You don't have to wait. This is why I'm talking to you. Like, cash flow can be created now. Here's what I mean by now. You can start creating it today. Did I say today too fast? Okay, because some of y'all might have thought I said it in 2 days. No, I said today. Okay, so cash flow can be created today. Regardless of how you look at it, unless you are independently wealthy, saving for retirement, building up a nest egg, and working for that mythical dream of working hard for 40 years and then retiring, doesn't make your life better now. None of that makes your life better now. Am I right? Some of you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a retirement account. I had one guy, he created a video and called me, what did he call me? I forgot, Scamaclaus. And one of the reasons he called me that was because I teach people how to create wealth, and one of the ways I said, you could borrow money from your retirement. He thought that was the most terrible idea in the world. Like, I would, if I found the right opportunity to invest in whatever, something that I felt like was gonna, I would take every dime, and I'm not saying you should do this, but I would do it. I would take every dime that I have in my retirement accounts and put it in something that's gonna create cash flow that could pay back the money that I borrowed from myself with interest. Oh, I would do that in 8 days a week, twice on Sunday. Sure would. Yes, I would. Okay, now, let's talk about active employment cash flow. Here's the problem with active employment cash flow. Y'all ready? And by the way, it's not bad. I believe, okay, I know I preach a lot about entrepreneurship, but here's what I believe. I believe that the majority of people should have a job. Why? Because that's what you've been programmed for. And until you have to figure out how to live without a job while you have a job. Did you hear what I just said? You don't quit your job and then think all of a sudden you're going to be an entrepreneur, because baby, that ain't happening. Okay? You got to go earn your living in your directed time. So in your discretionary time, you can go build your fortune. So let's talk about employment cash flow. And by the way, it's not the most optimal way to cash flow, but it's so better than having no cash flow. Can I get a witness? Okay. So here, all anchored to your time. So where does active employment cash flow come from? It comes from working full time. You get a full-time job. And somebody pays you because you're doing something for them that saves them time or makes them money. Say full-time. And then some of you, working full-time doesn't make you enough money to take care of all the stuff you got to take care of. So then you work part-time. Great. So now you're working part-time and full-time. And I don't know if you've done, I know I've done that in the past, worked full-time and worked part-time, both at the same time, right? And then when I had a job that paid me by the hour, also I would work what? Overtime, right? So full-time, part-time, overtime. By the way, if that's the only way you know to increase your cash flow, get busy, baby, until you learn another way. Get busy. Okay, now, the problem with only having this type of income is the fact that your income generation is anchored to your time. So let me ask you a question. Do you have a limited amount of time, or do you have an unlimited amount of time? Limited amount of time. We all have a limited amount of time. So, which means the more your cash flow, what's the word I just said? Everybody say it. Cash flow. The more your cash flow is anchored to time, the more limited your cash flow. Did I say it too fast? Okay, y'all got it. So one of the things that I have to learn how to do is I have to learn how to disconnect my revenue generation, my cash flow generation from time. The more we disconnect our generation from time, the easier it is for us to create and catapult our cash flow. What does that mean? Well, first of all, so let me just tell you something that you may have never thought of, and I'm not being funny and I'm not being condescending. You may have never thought of. There are people in the world who make money that has nothing to do with how long it took them to make it. It has nothing to do with it. It's totally disconnected. And if they can do it, everybody tap yourself on the chest, say, I can do it. Now, you may not know how to do it yet, but you know it can be done. And if it can be done by them, then it can be done by you. Okay, so cool. So let's talk about active and passive entrepreneurship cash flow. Active and passive entrepreneurship cash flow. Okay, so active, the sale of services. If you have a business and you sell a service, that's active cash flow. Usually when you sell a service as a specialist, the amount of cash flow you make per unit of work, which most people measure in hours, is going to be higher than if you're making that money as an employee. Okay, I'll say it again. Usually, if you're working as an entrepreneur and earning money, earning cash flow as a specialist who's an entrepreneur, the amount of money you make per unit of work, which most people measure by time, is going to be higher than if you're actually doing that same work as an employee. Why? Because your boss, your employer, has to make money in the margin. He makes the money in the spread between the difference between what he charges and what he pays you. Is what I'm saying making sense? Okay. And there's nothing wrong with him doing that. He's the one who took all the risk. He's got to make the money in the spread. If he doesn't make the money in the spread, you don't have a job. Okay? Okay, so the sale of services. Now there are different kinds of services that people can sell. You have your core service. What does that mean? If you're a plumber, your core service is plumbing or plumbing, heating, and air conditioning, right? If you're a landscaper, your core service is landscaping and lawn care, right? So what is your core service? Okay. But a lot of service providers are really, really smart, and they have the next kind of cash flow, which is continuity cash flow. On what? On a service. What does that mean? Well, there's a plumbing company. It's so weird. Like, now I'm thinking, why am I paying them? There's a plumbing company, but I pay X amount of dollars per month. So when they come out, they don't charge me as much, and I'm prioritized over other people. And I just pay them every month for the ability to be prioritized. They might come out 3 times a year, but I pay them every month, right? In the last couple of plumbing jobs I had done, I didn't even have them do it. Like, what am I doing? Okay, I just thought of that just now. Okay, so, ta-da! Okay, so Myron, what's your point? My point is, as a service provider, if you have a service-based business, Get clients on continuity. Make them a part of some kind of membership. Get them to pay you a retainer of some kind that gives them some kind of special something. Does that make sense? Okay. And then lastly is your colossal cash flow. What is that? That's when you sell a really, really big job. Now, if you are a service provider, I know you probably never thought of this before, but as a service provider that provides that service, you could take that same service you already have. You're a landscaper, you clean pools, or not clean pools, maybe may not work, but landscaper, you're a plumber, you're whatever. You could actually go get jobs that are way too big for your company and then act as a general contractor and sub out the work to other people who you know who are in the same business as you. And so now you're taking your competitors and making them a part of your cash flow equation. It's just a different way of thinking, people. Are y'all tracking? Okay, now, anybody that knows me, and by the way, I have services that I sell. My services are a way higher price than most people, and because number one, I have a limited amount of time. So if you want some of that time, you're gonna have to pay. So like last month, we had a couple clients who were hourly coaching clients, right? And I make $40,000 an hour. So I had one client she said, well, I want an hour, and I want you to help me create my presentation, right? So we sat over there in my office. She paid me $40,000. She said, if it takes 2 hours, I'll pay you another $40,000. Okay, which would have been fine, but it only took an hour. And I'm not going to make it take 2 hours just because I make more money, right? It took an hour. Okay, cool. Had another client paid me $80,000. She wanted me to help her grow her YouTube channel. I want you to help me grow my YouTube channel. Okay, we spend 2 hours, and I break down YouTube for 2 hours. She paid me $80,000. And by the way, they both paid before they got any of the conversation. The payment's done, right? Oh, by the way, they were both jacked out of their natural mind when we got done. Right? Okay, now, I don't like providing services. That's why I charge so much. Because if you're gonna make me do something I don't wanna do, I'm gonna make you pay. Now, you don't have to adopt that, but might not hurt, who knows? Okay, so here's what I'd rather do. The sale of products. Okay? Products work the same way as services. So, core products. So I have about 5 core products, but I'm going to name 3. I'm going to name 3 core products that I have. So I have my From the Trash Man to the Cash Man book. In fact, I'll show it to you. I'm going to show you a couple of them. In fact, I'll even give you a little history lesson that you probably weren't aware of. Okay. So I have this book, From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, How Anyone Can Get Rich Starting from Anywhere. By the way, when you buy this book, please don't buy it on Amazon. I mean, unless you're getting the ebook version, which is only $10, that's fine. But if you buy it on Amazon, I've seen this book for sale, and I know it sounds ridiculous because it sounds ridiculous to me. I've seen this book for sale for $1,100 on Amazon, which is insane to me. $1,100, it's a 152-page paperback book. But people buy the book because I don't sell it on Amazon, they sell it on Amazon. Like most recently, I've seen it for $69. I've got somebody who's one of my VIPs who bought this book for $187 on Amazon. You can get it on my website for $20 plus $10 shipping and handling if you want a physical book. It's called trashman2cashman.com, and I'm not trying to sell books. We already sell plenty. But if you want the book, Trashman to Cashman. This is one of my core products. This book makes me between $80,000 and $110,000 a year. Now, here's the cool thing about that. How many times did I have to write this book? How many times? One time. I wrote the book one time. And I get paid for it every month. Now, here's what's really cool. I wrote this book 19 years ago. How many of y'all are making between $80,000 and $110,000 a month for work you did 19 years ago? This is why I love core products. This is one of my core products. This is my financial literacy product. But when I first wrote it, it wasn't called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. When I first wrote that book, it was called The Ebony Treasure Map, The Roadmap to Riches for African Americans. And so when we first launched the book sold great, but then I realized there are people who won't read this book because they're not African American. So guess what I did? I changed the title. It's the same book. Okay. So for those of y'all who know what the book looks like, it's the same book. See, financial house and everything. See, same book. Okay, but I changed the title. Why? So that people who are Hispanic and white and Asian and from Greece and France and everywhere buy it. Okay, so that book. That's one of my core products. This is one of my core products. This book sells for $30 plus $9.99 shipping and handling. Okay, it's called Boss Moves. Don't buy it on Amazon. I've never even looked it up on Amazon, but I probably should. BossMovesBook.com. If you were to hire me to coach you and you were just like, hey, I just want you to coach me in general on my business, the things that I would coach you on, and it would take about 2 hours, are in this book. For the first 2 hours, I would charge you $80,000. You can get the book for $40. I don't mind telling you that because I'd rather you read the book and pay $40 and me not have to have a 2-hour conversation. Everybody wins. So those are 2 of our core products. We have another core product called the Make More Offers Challenge. The tickets for the general admission are $97. The tickets for, and I'm not telling you this because I want you to go buy anything from me. If you think that's why I'm telling you this, then don't buy anything from me. I don't need to make any sales. We're gonna make them whether you buy them or not. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm showing you that I do the stuff we're talking about. Does that make sense? Okay. So the Boss Moves book makes us between $250,000 and $350,000 a year. It's work. I wrote that book 4 years ago. It'll be 5 years ago next September. 4.5 years ago, I wrote that book. Wow. It makes me hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. This is what I mean. So now I've got cash flow. I've got cash flow from core products. But guess what else I have cash flow from? I have cash flow from continuity. What's continuity? Continuity is when you sell something to someone once, but they pay you for it every month, or they pay you for it every week. I have clients right now who are on $20,000 a month payment plans. $20,000 a month payment plans. I have clients right now who are on $610 a week payment plans. Why? Because that's how I set up my business. So now I've got products, cash flow, I've got core product cash flow, I've got continuity product cash flow, and then I've got colossal cash flow. What's colossal cash flow? That's when I sell a VIP day for $375,000. That's when I sell a King Solomon's Court mastermind for $55,000. We sell King Solomon's Court every month. Where people buy it every month. Now, we don't sell VIP days every month, but we sell enough of them a year that we go probably keep on doing it. So you say, Myron, what are you saying? I'm saying I do the stuff I'm telling you. This is how I know it works. Now, okay, wow, okay, we got plenty of time. This is great. And I have plenty of stuff I want to teach you. So this is good. Hopefully this is helpful. Is this helpful? Yes. Okay, are you getting some ideas for stuff you can do? Okay, so then the sale of IP. What's IP? Intellectual property. That's the form of books, songs, videos, software, etc. So you come up with an idea. Here's what I found out. People will pay you more for your ideas than they do for your implementation. What? It's called being a consultant, right? I heard one consultant, Neil Patel, some of y'all may know who he is. He's got one company that pays him $250,000 a month. One company. Why? Because he provides marketing advice to them. Okay, so heard you talk about it on a YouTube channel one time. Okay, so we talked about the kinds of cash flow. We talked about active employment cash flow. We talked about active and passive entrepreneurial cash flow. Let's talk about active and passive entertainment cash flow. Because some of you are entertainers. Breezy, I know you're an entertainer, right? So why not take some of our entertainment and turn it into cash flow? So we could have cash flow from live shows. That's if you're a comedian who sells tickets to a live show. If you're a singer or a rapper, you sell tickets to a live show. You're an actor and actress, you sell tickets to your plays. That's a live show. If you're a speaker, you sell tickets to your seminars. Like when I do a seminar, we usually sell anywhere from $60,000 to a couple $100,000 worth of just tickets on the front end before we do a live event. Right? So what's that? That's entertainment cash flow. And so when I say entertainment, we could call it edutainment, but it's fun. It's an experience. It's something people get to come to, right? So we talk about entertainment cash flow, live shows, live and recorded broadcasts, like this one. This is a live broadcast. It's live in that we're live on YouTube right now, but it's live in that we have a live on. Can y'all make some noise so people can hear out? Make a lot of noise. That was so lame. Do y'all know what noise is? Make a lot of noise. Okay, that's better. Okay, cool. Okay, wow, y'all are acting like y'all shy or something. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get me a new crowd who can make some noise. But anyway, like I'm going live on YouTube. Did any of you pay to get in here? Yes or no? No, nobody paid to get in here. But guess what? YouTube pays me every month. It's entertainment cash flow. I create content for YouTube. YouTube pays me every month. YouTube pays me every month on this channel between $30,000 and $55,000 a month. Well, I'm going to be okay. I've got some entertainment cash flow coming in. But my Bible study channel, and I was doing this Bible study. I was doing this Bible study since 2013. I didn't start a Bible study channel until July of last year. That channel last month made me $13,000. The month before that made $16,000. On track to make over $20,000 this month for teaching the Bible. It's just, what is it? I'm just going live, right? Okay. So okay, we're talking about active and passive entertainment cash flow. So live shows, live recordings and broadcasts, and then liquidating content and merch. So when you have live broadcasts and you have live shows, like when we do a big event, we sell merch and we sell cups and we sell like stuffed books. We sell stuff with our logo on, right? So you could sell that. We did an event in California. It was so much fun. So we had like 200 people there, right? And I took like 600 books because I wanted to, and I had some of my students there, and I was teaching them how to do a thing. And so I figured, well, I might as well do this thing I haven't done in a while. And so we had 600 books stacked up on the tables in front of the room, right? And then when I made the offer to buy the books, we literally sold out of books. Now there are 200 people there. We had 600 books. We sold out of books in 7 minutes. They were all gone, right? Okay, that's what I mean. You can liquidate merch and IP when you're at your live events. Okay, so. And then liquidating your merch. Okay, so the first thing we talked about was cash flow. The first point was cash flow can be created now. You don't have to wait. It can be created now, okay? And then all those others were subpoints. So here's point number 2. Cash flow can broaden your choices now. So do you understand, having more money in your retirement account doesn't change the choices you get to make today? Have you ever thought about that? Like, you got, all right, I've got $600,000 in my retirement account. Okay, what does that do for your choices now about where to go on vacation? Nothing. What does that do for your choices now about where you're going to live? Nothing. What does that do for your choices now about the car you're going to drive? Nothing. For the people that you love and the causes that you care about. What does that money, future money, by the way, you don't even know you're going to be here for that future, right? So it just makes sense to me to not wait to start living and experiencing life for some future date that may or may not happen. It makes more sense to have seasons of focus now and seasons of balance now. And yeah, when you first get started, your seasons of focus are this big and your seasons of balance are this big, but it makes way more sense than having 40 years of focus so I can have a couple years of balance that might not be there or that I might not make it to. Not to mention, if I do make it to it, a lot of people, when they retire, they expire. So, and I'm not interested in expiring, so I'm not interested in retiring. So there, yes, I will be 65 in 6 months, and I'm not going to retire. So, there. So it improves your family choices. It improves your faith choices. You know what's sad to me? People talk about living below your means. Most faith-based people give below their means. I was at a church once as a visitor. I was a visiting speaker. They made an announcement that somebody in the church, their house had burned down that week. They took up a special love offering for that person. Cool. There weren't that many people there. There may have been 20 people there. It was a little church. Cool. So and I gave some money to it because my house didn't burn down. So the next day I asked, so how much did y'all collect for the family whose house burnt down? Now I gave $100. Okay, I wasn't rich millionaire Myron Golden. I was a visiting preacher. Okay, I gave $100. I said, how much money did y'all collect for the family whose house burned down? $137. Cash flow impacts your faith choices now. The causes that you care about, you'll be able to give to. And cash flow, like if you increase your cash flow now, it increases your future choices. Why? Because if you increase your cash flow, now you've got more money to put into your cash accumulation. Let's say you're making enough money to live from your job and you get an extra $5,000 a month in passive cash flow coming in through one of the ways I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Then now you have the ability to do what we were talking about earlier. You have the ability to save $1,000 a month. And so in 83 years, then you can have $1 million. Maybe you can get that cash flow up to $10,000 a month and save $10,000 a month. Then you can be a liquid millionaire in 8 years. So I'm not saying that it's not important to accumulate cash. I'm saying it's more important. It's more of it ought to be more of a priority to increase cash flow than it is to increase cash accumulation. Does that make sense? Okay. So cash flow can broaden your choices now, and then lastly, cash flow can bring changes now, changes to your living standard. Now, I don't know what your living standard is, but I can remember when my living standard was just a stand. It wasn't a standard. It was just a standard, right? I remember when my life was like that. I remember a time in my life when I had to decide whether to pay the electric bill this month or the gas bill, or the water bill, or the car payment or the car insurance. And I know there's nobody watching me right now, but guess what? If you increase your cash flow, it improves your standard of living now. What do I care if I'm going to be able to retire one day and I can't live today? I can't feed my children today. I can't put gas in my car today. Okay. I'm not just saying that cash accumulation is not important. I'm just saying cash flow is a much better priority on both fronts. For the purpose of accumulating cash and the purpose of cash flowing cash, cash flow is a better priority. Okay, cool. It improves your life's your living standards. It improves your life situations. Man, I think about all the times I had raggedy old hoopties that broke down at the most inconvenient times. I remember one time, me and my brother Derek, who's visiting from Holland right now. Dude's a genius. Anyway, so me and Derek, we're on our way. I'm on my way to go see my girlfriend. She's my wife now, but she was my girlfriend then. It's in the middle of winter in Gary, Indiana. Okay? Gary, Chicago, all that, same thing. It's 142 below zero, or something ridiculous. Something where literally, the only place I've ever lived where I saw squirrels frozen to death standing up. I'm not exaggerating. It's just craziness. Like it's just like, what is happening? Like the gas would freeze in your car while you're driving. The gas line would freeze. It's just insanity. You have to put antifreeze in your gas, like gas antifreeze in your gas tank. It was just crazy. And so I'm driving this Volkswagen Beetle, and they don't have great heat anyway. And it was one that I kind of, finagled together. And we're driving, and our car breaks down on I-65 between Crown Point and Gary in a blizzard. And it is something below something cold and something way more than that below something wind chill. I mean, 20, 30, 40 below wind chill. It wasn't uncommon to have a wind chill of 80 below. It was just craziness. And we're out there. I literally knew that was my last day on earth because nobody was stopping. Finally, a kid that I went to college with, his sister recognized us and pulled over and gave us a ride. Or we would have died. Right? I don't even remember the last time I had a car break down. Why? Cash flow. Oh, you know what's really cool? Cash flow pays for my cars. Cash flow pays for this building. Cash flow pays for my houses. Cash flow pays for my life. Cash flow pays off my credit cards every month down to zero balance. My American Express has a couple $100,000 on it right now. It's getting paid today. Why? Not because of cash accumulation. I don't use my cash accumulation to pay that stuff. I use my cash flow. I'm not talking theory, y'all. I'm talking to y'all about what I do every day. Okay. So I know it works. And I'm not saying I do it every day to flex. I'm saying I do it every day. I know it works. This is not something I read about in a book last week, and now I'm creating a YouTube video on it. This is how I live my life. And it changes your life solutions. Whew, man, I am so thankful. I am so thankful that my life solutions are not solutions that I have to create anymore. So something that's in my garage where my tankless water heaters are, and my water lines and all that stuff, something in there's leaking. The solution used to be go get your toolbox and a flashlight and figure out what's leaking and why. That ain't the solution. You know how I'll solve it now? This thing right here? Yeah, y'all need to come out here and look at this. Yep, okay, come on, right? It improves your solutions. Why? Because paying other people who specialize in solving your problems saves you more time, and it's worth it even if it costs you more money. Now, what are some things that you can do to increase your cash flow? You have to start some kind of part-time entrepreneurial endeavor, some kind. Say, I don't know how to create a product. Great. Then become an affiliate. What is an affiliate? On the internet, there are people who sell stuff. I know because I is one of them. There are people who sell stuff. And when they sell stuff, if you promoted it for them, they'll give you half the money. What? So you can become an affiliate for other people's products. Did you know that? So, like, if you want to become one of my affiliates, you can go to mmocAffiliates.com. It doesn't cost anything. I don't charge you to become an affiliate. mmocAffiliates.com. And then you fill out the form, and then it'll take you to the affiliate area where you can get affiliate links for Trashman to Cashman. And every time you promote Trashman to Cashman and somebody buys it from me for $20, even though you didn't write the book, I'm going to pay you $10. Every time you sell Boss Moves for $30, even though you didn't write the book, I'm going to pay you half of that. I'm going to pay you $15. Every time you sell a Make More Offers Challenge ticket for $1,000, for $100, I'm going to pay you half of that money. Or $97, I'm going to pay you $48.50. You sell a VIP ticket for $297, I'm going to pay you half of that money. I have a guy who lives in India. He's my top affiliate. He makes $100,000 a year just promoting my offers. Now, if I'm paying him half, and I'm paying him $100,000 a year, how much money is he making me? An extra $100,000 a year that I wouldn't have made. It's all found money. Why am I willing to pay you half of the money for work I've done? Because you found somebody to buy it. And it's all found money. Like, I'm an affiliate. I looked at my bank account the other day, and I saw a couple $1,000s come in. And I'm like, where'd that come from? Oh, that was from an affiliate offer. I did a joint venture, which is another thing you can do. You can do a joint venture. So affiliate offer is one way that you can make money off of other people's stuff. And by the way, I have a program called Golden Ops, Golden OPS. Ops stands for other people's stuff, right? And that's my program that I sell, and I think it's $1,000 or $2,000. And if you sell that, I'll pay you half the commission on that. What? Yeah, I created the program. I do all the work. All you have to do is tell somebody about it, and I pay you half the money. Like, anybody could be an affiliate. Like, I make thousands of dollars a month sometimes in an affiliate. I make tens of thousands of dollars a month doing joint ventures. What's a joint venture? It's when somebody else has an offer, and then I promote their offer to my audience. Well, then they pay me some commission. Or they have an audience, and they let me promote my offer to their audience. Like, let's say I go on a podcast, and I say, hey, if you want me to promote my challenge, you can become an affiliate, and then we can buy a domain name. We can forward, like, if I was to come on to, let's say Omar El-Takroi's podcast, say, okay, Omar, here's what we're going to do. We'll create OmarOfferChallenge.com. And then we'll forward that to your domain name. And on this interview, which tens of thousands of people will watch, maybe hundreds of thousands of people will watch, we'll just send them to Omar'sOffers.com. And when they buy a ticket, you get half the money for everybody who buys. I got one guy whose podcast I was on. His first affiliate commissions just from me being on his podcast was $14,000 for the first month it was on there. I paid this man over $100,000 over the years just from being on his podcast, because that's how much money he's made me. Are y'all tracking? Then you have joint ventures, like other joint ventures, like I do repitches for people. So people do their offers, and they'll make their offer to their audience. And then they'll close the cart. When they close the cart, then I can come in, and they'll have me speak to their audience, and I'll speak to their audience for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then I turn it back over to them. They make the offer again. All the sales that come in when they make that offer again, I get 50% of that. My last repitch I did last month, I was here for 45 minutes on a Tuesday night, and I made $57,000. You could literally, if you know how to speak and you know how to sell from stage especially, you could literally do repitches and pre-pitches for people. Okay, so that's another income stream, right? Okay, let's say you don't like that. You could start a school community and charge people $5 a month for your school community. Now, I knew somebody who had a Facebook group that charged $5 a month. They were doing $500,000 a month in this Facebook group. You could do the same thing with Facebook group. You could do the same thing with a school community. Just start something where you're uploading content once a week or uploading content once a month. Start a school community, and bada bing, bada boom, you're getting paid like left, right, and center. You could start a membership site. You could start a paid newsletter. There are so many different ways. You could sell something that's a premium offer and have people pay it off over time. And then you get payments every month, or you get payments every week, however you set it up. These are all things you can do to create revenue. You could develop a software, or you could develop an AI agent. And then, you could develop an AI agent and then lease that AI agent to other people, and they pay you per month for using your AI agent, because AI agents are going to make software as a service like obsolete. It's already happening. It's going to happen even more. You talk about being at the right place at the right time. We live in an era when there's nothing you can, even if you don't know how to do something, it doesn't matter. So can I tell you something I did this morning? So remember I told you about the client that paid me $80,000 for me to teach them how to grow their YouTube channel? They took all the stuff I taught them. She brought her business partner with her, and so her business partner created a spreadsheet. He sent me the spreadsheet that used all the stuff that I told him how to do. He sent it to me, but it was locked. And I didn't want his content. I just wanted the spreadsheet. I liked the way it looked. I'm like, so this morning I said, typed in ChatGPT, if I upload a spreadsheet, can you duplicate the spreadsheet so that I have the spreadsheet, but I don't want any of the data? It made the spreadsheet for me, because I don't know how to do it. Well, I can't say I don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I know how to do it now. I just tell ChatGPT to do it for me. And I upload it, and it literally duplicated the spreadsheet, every column, every row, duplicated, no data, so now I can put my data in it. Who can do that? Anybody can do that. Okay. Is there anybody here who knows almost nothing about AI? Almost nothing? So all of you know. Okay. So did you know that in the next 30 days, you could become enough of an AI expert to start teaching other people for a specific thing. Let's say you're a plumber. You want to start teaching plumbers how to use AI for X, Y, and Z. You're a landscaper. Whatever business you could start. Maybe you know how to do video. You know something about video. You could start using video. You're a musician. You could start teaching other musicians how to use AI. There's so many different ways you can use it. Now, and I'm going to be talking a lot about this in 2026. But if you don't know how to use AI to do those things, you can get AI to teach you how to do those things. So you can do those things, become an AI consultant. Anybody listening to me right now, if you decide right now, I'm going to become an AI consultant in 2026, you could have your first decent paying client before the end of January. That's not an exaggeration. It's not even a slight exaggeration. Like, it literally teaches you how to use the tool that is the most leveraged tool that's ever existed in human history, can teach you how to use it and how to leverage it for maximum profit in minimal time. So, I'm going to end with this. Cash flow is better than cash accumulation. Did you know that money and blood have a lot in common? Did you know that? Yeah, money and blood have a lot in common. In fact, I'm going to do it on my board. So, money and blood have a lot in common. So, you already knew this even if you didn't know it. You kind of knew it. Okay, so money and blood have something in common. What do they have in common? Well, let's do this. Let's do money, blood. Okay, money and blood have a lot in common. What do they have in common? Well, most people store their money in a bank. In a money bank. But we store blood in a what? Blood bank. What? Oh yeah, money and blood, watch this, are both fungible. Money and blood are both fungible? Yep, what does that mean? That means if it needs to be the same amount and the same type, but it doesn't need to be the same exact. What do I mean? Let's say, out of control Cole, my man, can I borrow your car?
Yes.
What kind of car do you have?
Nissan.
Nissan what?
Sentra.
Okay, so I'm gonna borrow your Nissan Sentra, okay? Are you good if I bring you back a Volkswagen Beetle? No. Are you good if I bring you back a different Nissan Sentra? No. You want your car back. Why? Cars are not fungible. What does that mean? If you loan it to somebody, when they bring it back, it has to be the same exact. But if it's fungible, it doesn't have to be the same exact. You remember NFTs? Everybody's talking about NFTs? NFT stands for non-fungible token. What does that mean? That means this token is the only one and only. It's non-fungible. You can't exchange it for a different token, right? Non-fungible. But money is fungible and blood is fungible, which means it has to be the same type and it has to be the same amount. So, Cole, if I borrow from you $100, do you have to have the same exact? You give me a crisp $100 bill. Are you okay if I give you two 50s?
That's fine.
It's fine. What about 5 20s?
Yeah.
10 10s?
Yeah.
25s? He doesn't care. Why? Because it's the same type. Now, what if I said, okay, I'm going to give you two 50s, but they're going to be $50 Canadian? Do you want that? No. Why? Because it's not the same type. See, you have to have the same blood type O positive, whatever, type A, type B, right? It has to be the same type of blood. You can't, it has to be something that's equitable, that's equal value. I think O positive can be exchanged for other ones, but I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor and I don't play one on television, so I don't know, but it needs to be the same type or the same type equivalent, right? And the same amount. But guess what? That's not all. Money and blood are both fungible, but they are also they have to remain in circulation. What does that mean? Well, there's an organ in the body that pumps blood throughout the body. What's it called?
Heart.
The heart. Well, there's an organization, there's a group of people in the economy that has to keep the money in circulation. Who are they called? Entrepreneurs and salespeople. We are the heartbeat of the economy. The only reason anyone ever has any money to do anything they desire to do for the people they love or the cause they care about is because somebody, somewhere, sold something to someone for a profit. Now, here's the part you never thought about before. If a whole bunch of blood gets stuck and accumulates in one of your blood vessels, what's that called?
Clot.
Blood clot. And what can it do? If it comes up to your heart, it can kill you. But we're taught, like, it's not a good idea for blood to clot. Guess what? It's not a good idea for money to clot either. Because a lot of people, their financial devastation has been created because they've been programmed by the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism to intentionally build up a big old blood clot for someday, instead of increasing big old money clot for someday versus a big old pile of cash flow for today. I'm going to say it again. If you prioritize cash accumulation over cash flow, there's a very good chance you'll never have either. But if you prioritize cash flow over cash accumulation, there's a very good chance you can have both. Thanks for watching. I hope this video blesses you in ways going into 2026 that you didn't know you could be blessed. In the meantime, in between time,